and knew how mining a cryptocurrency works. Thus, to use phone to mine a cryptocurrency and an independent cryptocurrency for that matter, it is not possible. So which is why these guys possible. So which is why these guys were laughing at us. They all saw us as jokers. Everyone that was within my reach. They all saw us as jokers. Everyone that was within my reach. I tried my best to make them understood what they were doing. And for people that are in my community, the Parallelite community, those who have been there from the start, they know what I always do. Now, do you know the reason why we are able to use mobile phone to mine Pi as a cryptocurrency? It's simply because of the type of mining mechanism the Pi network uses, which is actually different, far away, different from the mining mechanism that's used in Bitcoin network. Usually, for you to be able to mine an independent cryptocurrency, you need what they call a mining rig, RIG, mining rig, or also known as a mining machine. Without a mining machine, you are very far away from mining what they call cryptocurrency. But we actually thank God for modern advanced technology. The advancement in technology help us to discover a way how we can mine the cryptocurrency using our phone. Bitcoin uses a mining mechanism known as the proof of work, which actually would require the use of a mining rig. But in terms of Pi network, it uses a mining mechanism known as the Stellar Consensus Protocol, SCP for short, and the Federated Byzantine Agreement, FBA. SCP and FBA is a fusion of the protocol and the consensus algorithm. We are not going into that, but I just want to let you understand that the reason why we are able to mine Pi in our mobile phone is due to the type of consensus algorithm used on the Pi blockchain. And when these crypto guys came to realize how SCP and FBA work, it made sense to them. And at that point, they began to look into Pi. Now remember that the purpose of having money is to spend. So in this case, if cryptocurrency is money, and Pi is a cryptocurrency, then automatically Pi is money. And if Pi is money, remember we said that the sole purpose of money is to spend. Each and every money that we have, even if we don't want to spend it now, we will spend it in the future. So if Pi is actually money, because we, the advanced pioneers, people deeply rooted in knowledge of what Pi is all about, we didn't just see Pi as a cryptocurrency, we saw Pi as money. By spending Pi as money. So when people add the system and increase the value of such currency, which is why in the case of Pi, we are mostly to Pi. Now let's move further. Since Pi network is a block network, that alone is easy enough for you to understand that Pi network is also a financial institution. I already said that. The bank is a public limited liability company owned by shareholders. Now, if you're a pioneer, you have Pi, you own Pi, you are indirectly a shareholder in Pi network. What do I mean by that? A piece of Pi you own is a share of the company. Is that understood? Or should I explain again? A piece of Pi you own is a share of the company. It means you owe a share in that company. And for every value or incentive that accrues to the network, also accrues to you. We can see in the value of Pi, when the value of Pi increases, each and every one of us, as far as we have Pi, the value of your Pi also increases. which is one of the benefits that accrues to everyone in the network. So indirectly, everyone who owns a Pi account is a shareholder to Pi network. Now, I mentioned Pi utilities earlier, and someone may ask, what is Pi utilities? Pi utilities in the context of Pi network are simply where, including us, where you can spend Pi in buying goods and services. And then the second question may be, why is Pi utilities? And why do we actually need Pi utilities? It is simple. The value of anything tradable solely depends on the forces of demand and supply. The value of anything tradable solely depends on the forces of demand and supply. Without people actually demanding for anything of value, it can never increase value. So the value of anything tradable solely depends on the forces of demand and supply. Utility is a major contributor to every modern cryptocurrency. Now, it is in adoption, etc. Why is all this needed? Because it will lead to a higher 24 hours trading volume, velocity of money, increase in value in a higher market cap. What does that particular statement mean? Utilities, goods and services. In that case, if we are focused on creating more utilities for Pi, we are actually creating a platform where we can increase the aggregate demand for the Pi ecosystem as a whole. And when each of the demand increases, the value also increases over time. Pi utilities will help us to increase the velocity of money. Velocity of money is actually the degree at which money changes hands. The degree at which money changes hands, or the degree at which we spend and we spend. What is the effect of the velocity of money? In the terms of cryptocurrency, let's look at that. When people spend cryptocurrency, details about how increasing the value of cryptocurrency works. Then I explained in the case of spending 100, I use Bitcoin. Spending 100, I use Bitcoin as an example. In the case of spending 100 Bitcoin, the effect is very minimal. Listen. In the case of spending just a transfer of money, the effect of spending it bit by bit over time. In just one transaction is very minimal, unlike that of spending it in bit by bit over time. So which is why we need utilities where we go. Of course, all of us need and use money to buy. But even at that, even as we spend their currency every single minute, it doesn't even add value to it. But can we channel the way we spend that money, the velocity of money? Can we channel it to a crypto money, the velocity of money? Can we channel it to a cryptocurrency and see what will happen? Spending it bit by bit over time. So, as you spend money, I'm not saying that you cannot withdraw your Pi. Of course, you can withdraw Pi and spend it. But what is the purpose of you spending fiat currency if it should not actually yield any benefit or value to you? We are just starting. When we see more utilities coming up, talking about businesses and online platform where we can actually, just like, okay, let's use the case of Temo, Amazon, and Jumia. When we begin to have such utilities where we can spend Pi, instead of you, maybe you want to shop something of 100,000, instead of you using cash, you can easily use the 100,000 naira to buy a piece of Pi and then go into the Pi utilities or any platform that accepts Pi as a method of payment. In buying the same thing you want to buy, you can actually use Pi to buy, and then you see that a lot will increase add value to Pi. So that is why we have the introduction of Pi utilities. Although, okay, let's look into this. No matter the total supply of the coin, but with utilities, it can help to stabilize the coin and reduce the high rates for the high level of velocity, volatility. Instead of a quick pump and dump and speculative coin. Of course, we all know that every cryptocurrency, taken from Bitcoin, there are some cryptocurrency projects that people, investors, pumping money and post when the value increase, when they withdraw the value comes down. But with utilities, that cannot actually happen. The effect is just going to be very minimal. Now, for this reason, a lot of our utilities has emerged in the past, and more are still untested, pending approval from the court. There are various power utilities dating from when financial actually gave room for people to create businesses and also integrate into the power ecosystem. We have various power utilities such as the Map of Pi, an app that helps you locate all the shops and businesses that accept Pi as payment within your location. Listen, power utilities are simply businesses, organizations, or platforms that accept Pi, or businesses that are integrated with the Pi blockchain. So one of the power utilities is Map of Pi. Map of Pi is an app or a website where you can use it to locate any Pi store locally where you can buy things for Pi. Now, Pi utilities is not just limited to online stores. If you have any business, your business can become a Pi utility by you simply accepting Pi as a medium of payment. Don't see that as a loss. Let me tell you that most people actually make money from using Pi as a medium of payment. How is that so? I saw one of my guys that accepted Pi during when Pi was not launched, that accepted Pi, buying his goods and services. And at that point, we used to have black market price where Pi was traded about 200 naira. What this guy does is that, for example, I saw when he sold a particular generator in a day of 58,000 naira. Particular generator of 58,000 naira. As at then, you add the price tag of that generator in Pi. And if you should convert the value of Pi that you want to use and sell that generator, so that if you pay him that Pi, you quickly go to someone and exchange it and will make times 2 of the real value of that generator. It might make up 100,000 naira. Do you understand that? So it was sense. It was sense. Even now, if there's any business you do, you can accept Pi as a medium of exchange. But you need to understand your own path of accepting that due to the volatility of the coin. So you need to set your price at a particular level that if you want to take out money to the stock, you won't be at loss. So by accepting Pi as a medium of payment of your business, you definitely makes your business Pi utility. So that we have a lot of Pi utilities dating from the Map of Pi. We have Pi to Go, a travel agency and logistics. We have Fruit Pi, a gaming app where you can actually play games and earn. We also have Workforce Pool, a marketplace to connect with and hire freelancers around. If you know what Pinterest is, this Workforce Pool is same as Pinterest, where it is a marketplace to connect with to hire freelancers around the world. Now, Another major priority startups and businesses by investing and helping them to grow. Such startups or businesses must have high potential in advancing real-world utilities and production. Now, listen. The mission of this PI, the introduction of the PI venture, is to accelerate the innovation and adoption in the PI ecosystem. Through investment, they want to invest in whatever business idea you have. Through investment in innovative startups and businesses across industries, the PI Network Ventures is designed to boost PI utilities, capture more productive processes into the network, and then drive PI integration in real-world cases. What does this mean to us? Listen. If you have a very good business idea with potential of adding value to the network or the PI community as a whole, these PI ventures under the canopy of PI Foundation, we all know what foundation is from the knowledge of charity foundations. So this PI Network Foundation now is a platform under the canopy of PI Foundation where $100 million is invested to help people, especially pioneers around the world who have business ideas which have potential of adding value to PI. Those business ideas, of course, have to be a PI utilities. So what they do is that under this PI venture, if they perceive your business idea to have enough potential, you'll be given grants. You will be given grants and even capital to start up whatever projects you propose to them. So that's what the ecosystem announcement is all about. Just the introduction of PI Network Ventures, whereby we have any business idea, you can then make it known, and then when they see that your business idea is good, you'll be given grants and then capital to start up. Now, someone may ask, how do we apply to get these grants or capital? Of course, an average Nigerian will ask. Even when I made this process, someone asked me, how can we collect these grants and loan? It's not even loan, it's capital. Now, just like I said, that this is just the beginning. We don't actually have inside knowledge about how to access these services here because it is just an introduction. But as time goes on, me personally will have to discover how people can access these services. As far as you have a business idea, then when you access these services, you get grants and capital to start. And then you know that once we're talking about grants or even capital, it is not chicken change. You'll be given enough money to start up that business. And then at some point where, because they'll be watching your business, at some point where that business grows to a certain particular point where it can sustainably stand alone independently, then they may withdraw back because they've established it. They may withdraw back while you move on. Because they are trying to support the utilities. Because once the utilities are live, it's adding to the value of our price. And then, you must also understand that at this beginning, the PI Network Ventures, the investment will only focus heavily on general technology sectors, including generative AI and AI applications, fintech, embedded payments, gaming, e-commerce platforms, marketplaces, social networks, and real-world consumer and the enterprise and the whole lot. What that says is that they have a special channel where they want to focus on, including what I've just mentioned. So In conclusion, if you have any business idea, even if it is an online e-commerce platform or a marketplace, as far as it has to do with integration with that, we also talked about embedded payments. You all know of Flutterwave. Flutterwave, there will be a power utility such as Flutterwave, a payment gateway where we can easily transact by. So such utility will get grants, but it's not just limited to that. There are other things I've mentioned. Okay, so my time, I've exhausted my time. I've taken up almost 1 hour. I'd like to take a bow at this point so that another speaker can come up and tell us more about Teltlk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chef Edgar. Let's appreciate him, please. That was an amazing session. We all learned, right? We all learned something, right? So today, I don't know, I would love to ask one of the audience, what do you learn from what you said? Just one person. Is that here? What did you get from Chef Edgar session? Just so I can exactly know what you learned.
Good afternoon, everyone. I like so much. I'd like to appreciate just one fact about when I first learned about time, first year, time, I used this to tell us my time. You don't have to invest in it, just buy, I don't know, something like that. Okay? That's really the big one. So, sometimes towards our final year, now I kind of appreciate how projects where use currency. They actually showed me the vision and where buy is moving to. When we are moving from centralized exchange to decentralized exchange, but the buy also actually appreciated the whole thing. So I can learn from sharing that the whole idea and innovative platform that he has actually brought in. I actually want to appreciate and say thank you very much, sir. I've actually learned so much in this session, and it's actually a good privilege for me to understand the whole process of mining and making exchange in different platforms. And then with this business, like this business announcement at the moment, I've been able to now know that this Pi network is not just something that just in the sphere of something, but something that actually communicates with people, like business owners, actually and come in and invest and then come up with something tangible for the ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdul. Insightful contribution. Okay, right now, we're going to time for questions. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, thank you very much, Mr. Sheffield, for understanding what really money is, why crypto is changing the game. This wasn't just a tech lecture to me. This was a more like a big home, you know. You explained how Bitcoin has started the journey, and now Pi Network is giving everyone a chance to be part of the future of finance. A round of applause for him. So, we are about to explore a topic that connects our past, our present, and our useless potentials and future from the days when cars were the currency of trade with African market to this era of digital disruption. What technology is qualitatively reshaping the continent? And that technology is what is called blockchain. So our next speaker is deeply rooted in the Web3 culture. He's a leader, he's an advocate, he's so many things to many people. And it's such a privilege to have him as our next second speaker. Please let us put our hands together. If you have an activity, let's appreciate Human Pi as he comes on stage. And he's also the founder of Pi Clubhouse. I I forgot to make sure that. Give round of applause for that.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, sorry, this mic is not working. Good afternoon. Okay, so my boss here, who's my leader in Alpha, spoke about pilots work for a very long time. Honestly, I've never heard someone talk about it. I'm super happy to be here. I'm going to talk about evolution of money, and I'm supposed to talk about Teltlk that we are here. But I'll start from evolution of money. I believe some of us have an idea of what blockchain is, what cryptocurrency is. We don't really have deep understanding of how deeply rooted it is to our daily activities and life in general. So I decided to take a different approach. So I was told to talk about Teltlk, but I feel like I should go back to blockchain. Yeah, this is my topic. I don't know what I will do, but from calories to why blockchain technologies Africa's next revolution. Okay, so I believe even if you were not born at that point in time, you have heard of something called calories. It's a form of transaction whereby if you have goods and services, you just give it to someone and then the person give you these or goods and services. That's deeply rooted in what we are going to talk about today, which is blockchain technology. How many of us have remembered something in the sense that back then, if you own a land and maybe someone is arguing with you that you're the owner of that he's the owner of that land, you need to meet your village head. Like he's the one that knows about like every. If your land, someone is trying to claim your land, go and meet your village head. He's a walking, talking ledger, and that is what I'm here to talk about when it comes to blockchain technology. So, aside the fact that we have spoken about blockchain technology on its own is what we call ledger. And a ledger is just very simple, very simple concept. It's something that stores information, is a record that stores who owns what and what belongs to who owes what to whom. So if I have 100 naira now, the only way I can prove that I have the 100 naira is if it's stored in the ledger. I'm explaining the ledger account. Let's get the point. If I owe you 100,000 naira, like I always mention, 100,000 naira, that's I can only prove that I owe him that if it's stored in the ledger. And the form of ledger that we have for today's society is the bank. So there's this concept in cryptocurrency we like saying on X. We say that whoever controls the ledger controls the narrative. Whoever controls the ledger controls what happens. So in today's society, ledger is only controlled by 2 sets of people. It's controlled by the government and it's controlled by the bank. So if 2 sets of people control the ledger, definitely it's centralized, right? So you can't decide what gets into that ledger, but you just have to see for yourself. If they show you, you see. If they don't show you, that's there for you. So someone that controls the ledger also have access to it. Someone that have so someone that has access to the ledger controls everything. He can also impose charges, only bank charges. We are used to it now, but definitely do something. So you send money to someone, they charge you. Why are you charging me? Because I'm the money that you send money to someone. So why are you charging me for my own money? Because they are the one recording it. So definitely they are charging me for that. So, and the fact that you can't even tell, like someone can perform a transaction and it's not recorded on that ledger. Why? Because maybe the person stole money and they don't want it to know about it, they don't want us to know about it, so they don't record it on the ledger and you get away with it and you do nothing about it. And the fact that the ledger is centralized means that you suffer from inflation, just like what Mr. Sheffield talked about. 500,000 naira 5 years ago is not 500,000 naira today. Why? Because the ledger is centralized. That's the problem. That's everything right now. So it's not about if it's naira, it's not about if it's dollars or whichever currency you are holding inside. Is it centralized or not? And the concept of centralization just doesn't stop with finances. It goes as far as even into governance. So just like the last election, I didn't vote because I felt like there was no need of voting in the last election. But in the last election, if you notice, it didn't really matter if you voted or not. So it was centralized. Someone decided who is going to win. So the late just finances alone. It moves ahead into governance. It moves ahead into even like property ownership. So whoever contributes has to be transparent, has to be muted. So the fact that it's decentralized means that each and every single one of us can have access to the ledger. For it to be transparent means that all of us can see it. So it's not just within a centralized body, it's decentralized and anybody that wants to see it can see it. And the last part is someone won that is not supposed to win because someone else feels like shouldn't win. If this person wins, someone else can tamper with that election and add more votes for someone else. So the fact that it's decentralized makes it a blockchain. And that's really important. Let's go back to finances. Let's stay with finance now. If each and every one of us gets to decide which mechanism in the blockchain, there has to be an agreement. So let me stick with the Pi network to explain this agreement for you. There's something called Byzantine Federated Agreement. It's what Mr. Shepherd was trying to talk about. So let me explain this concept to you. Let's picture this. You are an empire, like an empire, yeah, and you're surrounded by 4 different kings. Right? Let's say this is the empire, is this, and 4 different kings with their different armies surrounding. So the concept of Byzantine Federated Agreement says, how can these 4 kings attack at the same time without the empire making it of it? This happened for you. This Byzantine agreement. This scenario happened. So what if we made an arrow and catch fire to it and say the enemy would know about it and know us? So the concept here is Byzantine Federated Agreement says, how can these 4 people come together and attack at the same time? So that concept is what Pi network uses. And that's the way we have agreement that if I send money to Mr. Shepherd, how do we agree that that money gets to me? So in cryptocurrency, the only way we validate transaction is through nodes. Nodes are computers like this. So for this computer to communicate with that computer, we form a block and validate transactions on that. So if this Byzantine Federated Agreement is a mathematical concept. So the way these transactions are validated is that these mathematical problems are solved. So between these 2 computers, the fastest to solve the mathematical problem gets to keep the transaction fee. So normally we pay transaction fees to banks. But if Mr. Shepherd has a laptop and I have this laptop and I want to send money to him, one of us is going to get the transaction fee. And how that's going to happen is we don't need our brain to make that agreement. We need a laptop to make that agreement for us. And that concept of mathematical solving the problem, the mathematical problem is Byzantine Federated Agreement. So that is what makes Pi network blockchain works very well. And for other blockchain, they use other concepts like proof of work, proof of stake, and all of that. But that is what makes Pi network works very well, and that's how we validate transactions. So that eliminates a third party, and that makes the concept of decentralization work very well. That makes it transparent in the sense that all of us get to see that this transaction has been validated. And there is something called hash. Let me explain how immutable works in cryptocurrency. So if in this computer science now, if in computer science we have a concept called hash keys, we have nonces, and we have transaction footprint. So all of these contains dates, when I sent it, who I sent it to. All of these are part of a ledger, by the way. Common ledger has who I sent the money to, when I sent the money, what's the ID that this transaction was validated to. All of that is what is involved in on the ledger, bank ledger. So we took that to a blockchain and gave it a different name. So if I sent money to Mr. Shepherd right now, that comes with his own ID, his hash key and all of that, and that is what makes this. So if by tomorrow, okay, let's do this three-way transaction. So I sent money to Mr. Shepherd. Mr. Shepherd sends the money to you, but he also wants to send that same money to someone else. So there's going to be a problem. Do you know what? So from here, let's say he sends the money to you, so because he wants to send it to someone else. So the minute he tries to send that money to someone else, this is invalidated. And that is what makes the blockchain immutable. So it's either there's a concept in the concept called blockchain. So it's either we create a new branch of the blockchain to continue that, and that has to only happen if we're fighting problems like data privacy problem we have with Facebook and Instagram, in the sense that they steal your data. So if they don't steal your data, they tell you to take your data, they sell it to other people to make money from it. So how do we solve the problem that my voting rights cannot be tampered? How do I solve the problem that charging you 100 and if you are into business, each transaction you make, like they charge you so much. How do we solve that problem? How do you solve a governance problem? How do we really solve the problem of trust? Because that's the main word. We don't trust each other, we don't trust the government. Even all of us seated here, when it comes to matter, we can be a little bit skeptical. So how do we remove that? That we create a trustless society. In the sense that I don't have to trust you to trade with you. I don't have to know who you are to trade with you. I don't care about your person. I'm going to focus on. Okay, so in the case of data privacy, how do we solve the problem of data privacy? How do we solve the problem that, except I give you access to my data, you are not supposed to access my data? And this is not a problem that your data is not going to be open to everybody. It's a problem that you don't get to access my data if I don't give you access to it. Everybody can know that, oh, this guy's data is on the blockchain. Nobody can access it except you give the person access to it. So that's when we have concepts like Teltlk International. So it's a decentralized network that nobody is spying on your personal. Like if you are chatting with someone, no one else has to see that conversation. If we have a group chat, let it just be the people in that group. So there's no big eye watching over us, spying on our personal data. That's what Teltlk is all about, and that is how it's taking advantage of my network or my blockchain. How do we solve the problem that you can actually say you don't need a different app? By the way, you don't need a different app. Like, literally, if you are using anybody here using Teltlk app, okay, but if you have the Teltlk app, just try it. I can show you mine now. I've done a lot of transactions with it. The way I do it is like the way you chat with someone. You can send someone like chat like this. You can send someone money the same way. I think I'm trying to do mine actually. So the same way, you don't need a different app to do that. It's fully integrated into the blockchain. The same way, just like WeChat app, you don't need a different, like it will be shown the receipt to the person that the person has received the money. So the person doesn't have to come and say, oh, I did not receive the money, let's go for the money, something like that. It's there on the blockchain. If you click on it, see the transaction detail, see the hash key and every single thing that made that transaction successful. That is what Teltlk leverages on the finance. So, aside the fact that it's focused on social network and communication and all of that, it's also focused on e-commerce. So I know most of us here don't really have the app, but I do use Teltlk app for e-commerce activities. Like if I want to get something online, I can use the Teltlk app. Right inside there, what else can you do with the Teltlk app? You can send money with it, you can swap like USDT to Pi, USDT to TT, or anyone you want to do. You can do that on the Teltlk app. You can also mine. So the same way you are mining Pi, everybody now calls it Pi network. So you can mine the TT token on Teltlk app. So This is like one of the most diverse. By the way, it's, you see it here, it has over 40 million Pi coins in its holding. It's one of Pi network biggest company. I never knew that until I met the company last year. So I never knew it was that big. They told us, I've been in China all this while. You know, China is the biggest community in Pi network, and this is part of their contribution to come out to other parts of the world. This is actually their first meeting in Africa. Yes, special. Okay, so this is their first entry into the African market, and yeah, I strongly believe that if we believe something in Pi network, it has a huge potential of doing so much. And in case anybody here has any idea that maybe you want to reach, just like what Mr. Shepard said, I have ideas. I'm a computer developer. I build apps on Pi, only on Pi network. So if you have ideas, you don't need to know how to code. You just need to have a resume, LinkedIn account, and just what you want to work on. And pitch it to the Pi core team. $100 million is not small money. Like for real, all of us here, this is one of the best opportunities that each and every one of us have here. $100 million up for grab for anybody that has an idea and thinks so much in their idea. That's what the Pi core team is talking about. So I believe this thing. Let me tell you something. I believe so much in Pi network. I started Pi network the same time my boss started 2020 and started Pi club after 2021. Pi don't have process and I haven't taken any job, I haven't done anything, not because I don't want to do it, because I felt so compelled to do something. And it became like I have never seen such a thing in my life before. So I need to give my guy that. So I have to tell you this. There's this concept of 2030. You know, 2020 COVID-19, it was a pandemic. It exposed us to AI, it exposed us to meeting each other online. So if cryptocurrency is supposed to be the next big thing, you don't have to force ourselves to it. Something has to force us to accept cryptocurrency. The same way, even though Zoom was always there, we never cared about Zoom until COVID-19 came. So the same way, Pi network is here, right here in front of you. Even if you might not care about it, but something will have to force you to adapt it. And it is the concept of financial crisis. It might not be personal, but something like that will come about. And there's prediction for 2030. So that is going to be the time that people are going to cry the most and lose serious money in this and that. But that's the time that the same way OpenAI had over 200 billion $200 million registered users in 1 month. That's the highest we have ever seen. The same way, over 2 billion people are going to come on the Pi network by 2030. It's not magic. That's why they're investing over 100 million. So this thing is real. So it's not like it's going to happen whether you want it or not. Yeah, it's going to happen. So the first time I have an idea, the first thing I do is to want to chat it. That's what I do. These days I was like, no, I have to be original, not chat it. But for that to work very well, for the concept of Internet of Things, many of us have heard of that. For the concept of cryptocurrency to work very well, there has to be an infrastructure, and that's what it is. If you care about your data privacy, I have a solution for you here. If you want to, if you are into e-commerce, or you are not even aware of what e-commerce is, but you want to start, I can introduce you to PyChain. If you care about, I saw a guy that created this. So there's Cafe One. I know we are Cafe One. Let me tell you something. There is Cafe One. It's a website, Cafe One page. Someone created Cafe One to work on the Pi blockchain. So there is something like, if you want to use spaces, the guy is not part of Cafe One. All you needed to do is that you really want to book the spaces for you. And that's done with AI. So back here, based on AI. So let me explain the process to you. So you pay with your Pi, and then the back-end AI stuff does the job for you. And what happens is that the AI is the one chatting with Cafe One. Then the bodies get the space, and get a reservation, and get response from them, and give you back. Is the middleman making Pi. So making Pi from Pi chatting, making Pi from your transaction, like the extra charge is placing on each thing. So if Cafe 1 is charging like 100 per hour, it's charging like 150. Fine. It's making money from it. Head of AI, head of blockchain technology. So this point is the times that you don't need to create the original idea yourself. Just check for what someone else has done. Let's say that's on the blockchain. Put it on the blockchain. Check for OPE. So if you're not a developer, then you put it on now. So there's something called B0. B0 is a concept that if you just put a link, put it there, you need to create the content of the application. It's going to create the exact content of your application. That's what I do most of the time. I don't really create most things myself. I just leverage AI. So if you do that, you can replace OPE. You can replace the service called OPE and put it on the Pi blockchain if you need any format of the Pi payment or all of that code, you can ask me to help you out with that. Put it on the Pi blockchain and make Pi from it. Look, there are people that even if they don't get involved in blockchain technology right now, they will definitely get involved. Whether they like it or not, they will get involved. So you have to be the guy waiting for them. Like, go 5 years ahead of them and wait for them. They are coming. So all these people that feel like they're on top of their head, last, they are going to adapt blockchain technology and make money from it. Make Pi from it, honestly. Pi is gotten out of Stellar consensus and Stellar blockchain, sorry. And Stellar is mainly focused on daily activities like this. So it's partnering with MoneyGram, MoneyGram from the payment system out there. So what do? They don't need to suffer you, like you don't need to stress yourself. Just send your Stellar coin to MoneyGram account and you get paid for it. So it's just like trading day-to-day activities. Or just like, I know we have never thought of it, but if you see modern day fintech companies now, they make transactions so seamless that you can send money to someone outside the country. How do they do it? It's so simple. Use USDC or USDT. Partner with USDT and make it work. So they don't need to tell you they are partnering with actually send money for it and you can go and sell it. Okay, so they don't need to partner, they don't need to tell you that they are partnering with USDC. What they have to do is make the conversion behind the scenes and you are the one paying the charges for it. Whereas you have just sent someone USDT, send someone USDC directly, they are charging you for ignorance. That's what they are charging you for. So take advantage of the blockchain technology. We are very new with this. This like Aquarium State is like slowly becoming a take-off. So more of technology is getting into Aquarium State. There are certain skills you need to survive on the Pi blockchain. I'll tell you that. So if you are not into business, seriously, you need to go into tech. Like you need tech. So there's no two ways about it. Either you're on the business side, because if you apply for Pi hackathon, the hackathon program, you have to choose one, business or the tech side. So choose it. Like once you're in business, then business administration, then something like that, and incorporate it into the blockchain. Like look, the world is moving like 10x now of what it was like 5 years ago. So incorporate AI into what you are doing. Learn faster because nobody's going to wait for you to go to school and do all of that. Learn faster, like for real. I went to school, but honestly, I don't care about my school right now. I'm using AI, like all of the things I know now, I learn it online, like I learn AI, I learn this like that. And it's going well. Yeah, so far so good. Nothing has fault. It's crashing somewhere. And it's working. How about the tech side of it? There are free educational materials. Look, YouTube is called a free university. So, you know, you can't go to school, go to YouTube. There are a lot of playlists teach you on different tech skills. If you want to learn, so Pilot so many because of programming languages like TypeScript, Python, many of those tools. So if you want to build on Pi, and you care about the tech side, there are playlists on YouTube that will teach you how to build this stuff. There are not videos on how you can link Pi network, but there are people to help you in the Pi ecosystem. And they honestly, if you don't find it, you just find me. I'm building on Pi. I can help you out. And you build something. Like you don't need to be a pro in this thing, honestly. You just have to start. 2030 is here, like nobody's waiting. Whether you see people, nobody cares about this company. and that's our future. So I would want to say that before I get, can take advantage of my network, take advantage of what is in front of us. It might look like a joke. That's the same way it looked like a joke 6 years ago when we started. And today, everybody's like, look, my network went as high as over 10 billion market cap. 10 billion, $10 billion, sorry, in market cap from something you mined with your phone. A lot of my friends, I'm not going to put myself there. A lot of my friends became millionaires like the first week Pi network went like a lot. Like that's the truth. From something you mined with your phone. So what more could come out of this thing? Oh, someone is putting $100 million in that. So much to ask for right now. So I'd like to stop this way and say, please get involved in Pi network. If you care about more Pi network and Pi education and all of that, the boss is here. You can educate each and every single one of them. If you care about the tech part of Pi network, I'm here. Meet that we have. Okay, so there is a Discord channel we have for many just people that register with the Pi network. We have a lot of developers you have never seen before. We have a lot of African developers you have never heard of before. There's this guy building Connect Social. I think he's supposed to be here with us. Connect Social is also doing what Teltlk is doing. He's an African guy. Like, there are a lot of Africans building. There's Pi Metro. It's based in Lagos. It's the biggest mall in Nigeria in Pi network. King of Pi. I don't know if you guys have heard of that guy, but he's very famous in Nigeria. So King of Pi has a mall. If you check Pi Hackathon, he has about 200,000 groups. This mall. And he's going to win Pi from the Pi network. People are building, so don't think like, oh, it's only the white guys building. Like, we are here. So thank you so much for listening to my show.
Thank you so much, Juman Pai. Okay, honestly, so we are Juman Pai rather. We attended the same school together, and I've known him to be a very teeny, shy, and reserved person. Hopefully, to see him displaying what he did here, I mean, I am impressed. Round of applause. I am shocked. I am shocked to my good marrow. Thank you so much, Thank you so much for that wonderful insight. So, it's going to be a girl this time around. What did you learn from this Juman Pai? It should be a girl, my gender. You guys cannot afford to show me to say, okay, a lady, a woman. What's the difference? Like, what did you learn? Like, what is like your take-home lessons from all that Juman Pai has said? Okay. Thank you very much, Juman Pai. When I started mining Pi, I thought, like Shafan said, it was just mine. When they launch, you sell off and you make money. But Juman has opened my eyes to them. It's not all about mining. There are so many things to do on that blockchain. So many ideas. If I have an idea, don't look at me and say, this woman, even though I'm in my 40s, but I'm still a very young person. So, my brain should be up and I should make use of AI. Though it's only meta AI that my children have taught me how to use and ask questions, but I have to. He has told me more things to do with AI, not just cracking my brain alone. So I really appreciate him because that is a little spark, and that little spark is going to burn. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the next in line, what we are doing next is that we are going to be watching that one, and I'm going to be putting it on one time. Right now, let's appreciate that.
Pi network is sleeping now. I think it's existing training. So that's what I'm trying to do now. So important. He has never spoken publicly. These are best recordings. So honestly, I'm super excited.
Is she? A round of applause for that. And while we are waiting for that, we have a who like entertainment, like in charge herself. So sit tight, wait. Thank you very much. Come for me now.
I'm Tim. Point out, I have communication practice, so I'm going to take a lot of notes on what we're talking about today. But I would love to really start with you.
Pi network is a social network that segregates people with its own embedded parts, creating apps. One unique feature about the Pi is
Right, so I want to start with, and you can give me a really short answer, is in the world that each of you are playing, with society and AI, you know, I want you to give me kind of the analogous place we are in the technology spectrum, right? So if we could go YouTube and stream video, are we still in the VHS era? So when it comes to what we're doing. So let's start with you.
So that's a good question. So I think that every time in history there's technologies that are being invented, and then there's a little bit of lag that has been a leap forward, a breakthrough in what the model can achieve. Now the time is very nice, very clever. The same way that you know, when there is an engine to the not everyone in the car, but when they decide product, you know, so that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, I sort of feel like we're, you know, in the kind of mid-90s of the internet. But one big difference is there's massive distribution, right, that's been laid over the last 25 years since then. And so I think because of that, you've seen that there's some unbelievable growth in, you know, from 0 to 100 million rather than that we're doing it like, you know, in record time. And that's because distribution is now Eric, I love it all. The one I like is
more inference costs, stronger hardware.
I'm frightened about what's going to happen.
Potentially resolve disputes as well. And of course, the blockchain provides some fingerprints because for agents, it's very difficult to access personal arms, but stablecoin and blockchain rails is the last one.
Nicholas,
It's very useful, especially when you want to distinguish and the company, especially in a world where
I think you're going to see, you know, an explosion in AI agents over the next few years, and you know, figuring out the right transition.
1005. But when you migrate, you only migrate to 105. The rest are left in the unverified balance, which now